Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Meet the People. My name is David Feiner. I'm the Communication Technology Manager in the City of Pittsburgh's Department of Innovation and Performance. And today, I am really excited about today. Someone I have met within the last 4 or 5 minutes, but I can tell this is going to be a great show. I want to welcome in Lauren Stevie Smith from the Department of Public Safety. She's a park ranger. Stevie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, first, obvious question right off the top. Your given name is Lauren, but you go by Stevie. You want me to call you Stevie. Why Stevie?
So when I was, do you know the Boys and Girls Club in the North Side called Sarah Hines House?
I do.
I grew up there, and I didn't know my gymnastics coach's name. So I guessed because I liked Steve Irwin, and I guessed Steve, and his name was Dave, and I kept going Steve, and then he was just like, Stevie, that's not my name. And other girls heard it, and it just kind of stuck. And so here we are, 20 years almost later, and my dad and my mom love calling me Lauren, and that is the name that I go by in my family, but I do like Stevie. I feel like it kind of just fits my wandering personality a little better. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love names. I love stories behind nicknames.
Me too.
And that's great. So that leads into my next question. You've already answered it. You're from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And you grew up on the north side.
I grew up in Sheridan.
Oh.
I know. Plot twist.
And so why did you go to the north side?
So I was in dance, and it was kind of expensive, and my dad became a firefighter for the city of Pittsburgh and heard about the Boys and Girls Club, and so they took me there, and I kind of just fell in love with it, and it became my second home. And then from there in middle school, I ended up going to Allegheny, and then, I kind of fell in love with the north side and the people, and I ended up going to Perry for high school. So I've always kind of had a second home here on the north side.
That's great.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school? Besides Perry, after Perry?
I went to Slippery Rock University originally for phys ed, but then I worked in Alaska for a summer and fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I can stay inside and teach kids. I think I'd rather be outside. So I switched my major to Parks and Recreation and Resource Management.
Where in Alaska?
Kenai Fjords National Park for an outdoor adventure company. Yeah, it was amazing. Thankfully, one of the girls who was kind of like a mentor to me at the Boys and Girls Club, she got a job there after she had graduated from Perry also. And actually, I think she might have went to Slippery Rock. Yeah, she went to Slippery Rock too. So I pretty much followed in her footsteps. And she ended up working for Alaska Wildland Adventures and obviously I had to apply, but got me a job there. And it completely changed my outlook on life. And I wish I could go back there every single summer to work. But, the city's fine.
So you worked there for just one summer?
Yep. They're only open in the summer, obviously, because they're it's like a 2-hour boat ride out of Seward, Alaska to get to the lodge. So if anyone has any time to ever look it up, it is the most amazing place I've ever seen in my life.
My wife and I, on our honeymoon, we took a cruise out of Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Went up to Alaska, and it is the greatest vacation I've ever been on.
Oh my God.
I wanted only 2 things out of that trip. I wanted to touch a glacier, and I wanted to see a polar bear, and I got both of those.
You saw a polar bear?
I did.
Oh.
It was amazing.
I didn't. Did you see a whale?
We did not see whales.
No humpbacks. Oh.
We took a canoe ride right up to a glacier.
That's awesome.
And there was a piece of floating ice.
Yep.
And we were able to. The guide told us it had fallen off a couple hours ago.
They used the glacier bits. They would go and collect them to put them in like the fancy drinks for our guests. Mm-hmm. They would use the glacier bits, which it's unreal. Alaska is just an amazing place.
We also had I don't remember what town it was in. One of the towns we stopped in, but we had Alaskan king crab, which had been taken out of the water maybe an hour before we had gotten there.
How awesome
and
is that?
I grew up on the ocean outside of Boston, so I know what it's like to have seafood taken off the boat and put on my plate 20 minutes later. And it was fresh as fresh could be.
Right.
It was awesome.
It's so much better than, going to the store and buying it.
It's also, and whatever's offered in the mon.
Right.
I mean, the seafood that comes out of there.
I'm not sure I'd want to eat that.
My in-laws really give me a lot of They don't like when I say things like that. So you said your dad is a Pittsburgh firefighter.
He just retired.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many years had he worked
I think
for the
he had
city?
23.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're a legacy.
You know what? I did take the fire test, I think right before I became a park ranger. And I did okay, but I don't think I did as well as I could have on the written. So, and then I ended up becoming a park ranger, and I'm in the military too. So just a little too many things going on, but I think maybe in the future I might wander back over there.
Okay. There's a lot of things I want to, because you said it earlier, plot twist, and you're already throwing a lot of plot twists at me. Okay. So you took the firefighter exam.
I did.
Okay. And you didn't pass the written, but did you
passed,
pass the physical?
Yes, I passed everything. I just didn't get enough. I didn't get a good enough. I mean, okay. I was on the list, but I would have had to waited a couple classes. And then, I got 100 on the physical, and the written just wasn't as great. And then unfortunately didn't get my military points yet because depending on your DD 214, you have to have a completed enlistment. So, and I didn't have that quite yet. I was only about 3 years into my enlistment, but it was no big deal. Obviously, I'm here as a park ranger and I love this job. So everything happens for a reason.
What branch of the military?
I'm in the Air Force, the National Guard.
How long ago did you enlist, and how often are you?
I actually just re-enlisted last year. So I've been in for 7 years now.
Wow.
And I go in about once a month. I just switched jobs though, so that's kind of a change for me too. I was security forces, which is kind of like police for the military, and then now I'm admin, so I still have to go to a 5-week school for that, and then I'll kind of get back onto things and get moving.
That's amazing.
My dad gets kind of mad with me because my brain's all over the place, but
when do you have time for anything?
I don't. No, I don't.
When do you have time to do your job?
I don't remember anything. Fortunately, obviously they have to let you do things for the military, but other than that, as soon as I'm back from the military and stuff, I'm right back to work. So, which I love.
So, park ranger.
Yes.
How did you first hear the job, and why did you apply?
So my dad actually was here doing something for work, and he saw it listed, and I just graduated in December of 2016, and so I applied, and I made it through the first round of interviews, and then made it through the second round of interviews, and they told me and another kid that I got the job, and that's what happened 4 years ago, and here we are now.
So your first day as a park ranger.
Yes.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
My boss, John Furman, showed us all around the parks. I think mainly we spent our day in Shenley, but obviously, as you know, there's always things going on in the parks. And John, our lead ranger, is always on the call. His phones are always ringing. He has 2, if you don't know him. They're just 1 on each hip. And then his walkie-talkie, too. So he's always somewhere. He's always being called somewhere. So we were going to Highland. We went to Frick. A lot of that first 2 weeks was just going around to the parks and addressing situations and learning from them, or, just hiking the trails and kind of seeing what the parks were all about. But then I got put in Allegheny Commons and Mellon Park and Market Square. So, you can't really get lost there.
So tell us about the first 2. You mentioned you were being called to various situations. What kind of situations do park rangers have to deal with?
I think one of them might have been a nude man in Shenley Park on a bench somewhere.
Sorry about that.
I think John took, he was the head for that, and we kind of just stayed back since we literally were just on the job. Dogs off leash is always a big problem, unfortunately. But then we do some tabling activities too, so some like environmental education type things. But mainly it was just walking around and getting to know our parks. Like he took me downtown to we took the subway, was it? I guess, yeah. So I could learn different ways to get into the city rather than walking across the bridge. I can go underneath to get back and forth faster. Yep. Going into Mellon Park and Market Square, because I don't think anyone really knows Market Square is a city park because it's all cement, but. Just going over a lot of the main rules and ordinances we try to hit on, like no smoking, dogs on leash, and obviously just keeping wildlife and the people in the park safe. So that was like our biggest thing we went over.
So we've been doing the show, and I've been conducting these interviews for about 6 months now, and I've been talking to a lot of city employees about how they use technology in their jobs, but everybody I've talked to so far sits behind a desk. I'm assuming, A, you don't have a desk.
I don't.
But you do have an email account.
I do.
Because I've been emailing with you. So what are some of the technological tools you're using as a park ranger?
So I think our biggest thing that has helped me with our job is creating an Instagram account. So I initially didn't run our Instagram account, but I really wanted to. And then our other ranger who was running it got a job out in, I think, Mount Whitney National Park. And so then I took it over from there. And I think Instagram has just been a major help for me specifically because a lot of the rangers don't have actual offices. So in regards to actually like getting to go to someone every day and say good morning or like know where to go to get a map or something is kind of difficult for all of the city, anyone who comes to the park, because you want to ask for help or you want to, see what kind of programs we have, but how do you know if you don't have anywhere to go to talk to someone? And I think Instagram has kind of given like a general office space for us about being able to share what we see and what we do, even if people don't see us on a daily basis. Because like John at the skating rink up in Shenley, they do have an semi-office there, but at least you have somewhere to go. Whereas for me, in the Commons, and there are different like rooms. Some of the rangers stay out in Highland and stuff, but no one really knows that that's where the park rangers are. So Instagram has given us that platform, and I like to keep it as open as possible that people can message us with issues or questions or anything that they need to through that.
So what you're doing is you're highlighting the places that you're going, the people that you're interacting with, the types of calls that you're being asked to work on, and showcasing maybe a not well-known side of what the city does.
For sure, yep.
And what has been the response, not necessarily from John or your coworkers, but what has been the response from the public as they have seen your Instagram posts?
I think it's been super impactful for us and for the people of the city. I think being able to do environmental education, especially, what really shot it off was COVID. They shut down everything and people were inside, but your rangers were still working. And we were still able to bring the outdoors into people's homes. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was pretty awesome because people were looking for things for their kids to do or just themselves to do. So I think it's been super great. And then obviously, I don't know if we were on a couple of news channels, which a lot of people don't know the park rangers exist, which was super great that we were able to get on those platforms because since a lot of people, there's only 11 of us, 7 of us are full-time and then 4 part-time. So, unless you see us in an office or you do stumble upon us in the woods somewhere, not many people know we exist. So having that platform and being able to connect with people is super great. And I think the people love it too. And we're able to address some issues in I don't really know, dogs off leash. Dogs off leash is a big issue. Obviously, I'm not going to yell at people as they post pictures and videos of their dogs off leash on Instagram, but I can at least promote the people who do have their dogs on a leash or who are using the off leash areas so that we can show good examples of things to do in our parks rather than, I would never yell at people, but just trying to educate people on how to keep their dogs and wildlife and other people safe while in the parks.
I want to make a point that I love my dog and my dog loves me. But if I took him off a leash, I'd never see him again. Whether it's in a neighborhood or a park, he would leave me.
Yes. That some people, but then there's other people who loves their dog off leash, which yeah. I do understand, but you gotta respect other people's. Mm-hmm. I had a dog when I was deployed. I found a wild puppy and I brought him home. And so he didn't really have like domesticated genetics. So he was fine. He was okay. But if a dog would approach him on a leash, he would get very upset. But if someone had their dog off leash and they didn't know how to control it, you're creating an unsafe situation for your dog, my dog, and for us if we have to get involved. So I've been over the past couple of years, I've been super focused on just trying to help people, educate people to understand, why we enforce the rules and ordinances that we do, because it's not like we don't want anyone to have fun,
What's one of the, so as you were becoming a park ranger and learning the rules, regulations, ordinances, what is one of the strangest ordinances you can think of on the book?
Strangest.
Is there a strange ordinance like from 1653? No.
Actually, we have a pretty basic ordinance list, unfortunately.
Okay.
Not unfortunately, but it's just super straightforward.
Okay.
Because I have scrolled through them, but I haven't seen anything. I mean, I think the oddest one I kind of thought when I first got on was the no smoking thing, just because I never knew that was a rule.
Okay.
But
I guess once you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Lighting up in the middle of a park.
yeah, especially depending on your parks too, like Market Square, Mellon Park. Your smaller parks are very small, or playgrounds or things like that. So I think the biggest thing about smoking for me is that it's not even the smoking, unfortunately, it's the cigarette butts.
Yep.
Because even if you ask someone not to smoke, they will I would say 90% of them will throw their butt on the ground. So then you have to ask them if they could not litter and throw it in a trash can.
Yep.
So it's a never-ending cycle of a domino effect of just trying to educate people on, why you shouldn't do things, and just respecting the public space, I guess.
Where I grew up, my backyard was a state forest.
Oh.
And about 3 years before my parents bought that house, there was a massive thousands of acres forest fire.
No way.
And it destroyed a lot of the, not a lot, because it was even huger than that. And huger is not a word, I know that. But it destroyed a massive amount of the state forest. And it was started by a cigarette butt.
That's crazy. We've had a few in the springtime already. We had a couple in Highland and Frick, and there was a good burn in Mount Washington Park, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. I didn't even know that was a park till this year. I knew of Emerald View and Grand View, but I never knew it was tucked back. Well, I don't think I've been to that park, but I never knew that was its name. But I stumbled upon a pretty big burn back there, and I assume it was just from kids having like a campfire or something and getting crazy. But it's actually wild that we even have some small fires that get out of hand, obviously in the city too. But thankfully, I think since they're back in the woods, they don't, and it's more, wet here than other places. They stay pretty consumed. I mean, not consumed, but.
When I was a kid, I was told only I can prevent forest fires. I'm assuming that's still the case.
100%.
Okay. So I'm the only one.
Only
That's
one.
great. Awesome. You touched on this a little bit, but I want to dive a little deeper into it. So you've been here 4 years. How has your job changed in the last 16 months? So you said you don't have an office, you don't have a desk. Most of the office workers for the city in March 2020 were, it was suggested strongly that we go home. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you were told to stay put.
So actually, I was pregnant during the time.
Oh.
So my boss actually and the city did tell me to go home.
Okay.
But I did wander out occasionally to get content for our social media platform, because that was my main job while I was home, was to provide daily interactions.
Okay.
I'm actually blanking on what we even called it. I think it was like Parks in Your Home series.
Okay.
So I did wander. So I'm super grateful that the city allowed me to do that, just because obviously it's hard being pregnant now in the parks and then with all the craziness going on. But every day at home, it was just about creating content for the next day and the following day and trying to change it up so that we always had something new. And thankfully, obviously it was March, so there wasn't many things in regards to nature popping up. But from the previous summers, we were able to put stuff together. But then as the summer slowed on, the summer went on, obviously we were kind of out and about more. But I had my baby, so I was gone for a good amount of time the 2020 summer. Mm-hmm. So I missed a lot, but obviously having a kid, I was just completely indulged in that. But I still ran Instagram on the side. So
once you came back to work after maternity leave, was the job different because we were in COVID times?
No, it was never really, I don't think it was ever really different. I think if anything, there just weren't as many people out in our parks. But actually, I kind of have to say at least I have to kind of say the opposite, because everyone was out in the parks, because that was like the only places I guess you could go, because everything else was closed. So I think we definitely did have a little bit of, issues with the amount of people. We definitely had a lot of complaints of people messaging us with people not respecting each other's space and things like that. But, it's hard to enforce that when you have maybe only one ranger per park.
Right.
And, how do you address the situation? So, the best we could do was just make posts on Instagram about reminding people, of respecting their space, 6 feet and all that. So, and then honestly, as the winter time went on, wintertime is always kind of slower in our parks, depending on what park you're in. I'm in the Commons, so I sometimes make comments that are more towards my parks and not the other parks. But I think, and then once spring came around this year, our parks were pretty much back to normal, and
Right.
we're still doing environmental education with the rec centers. Obviously, I think our one ranger was still doing online programs with our kids in the schools. And now we're back to full on doing events, and our farmers markets are happening.
Right.
So everything, it's definitely been a little different, but in a way the parks were like the savior for everyone for having a place to go. So
I live on the far east end of the city in Swiss Elm Park, and on the back end of Frick.
Yeah.
And I would even in the beginning months of COVID, I would take my dog down at the bottom of Commercial, and there'd be nobody around. And I watched as the months went on how many people were deciding to come outside.
Right.
And I actually wasn't upset about it. I thought it was nice to see people, because it was really weird to walk around a big city like this and not see anyone.
Totally.
I was coming downtown for work I was only home for 4 or 5 weeks. So coming downtown and not seeing anybody all day.
Traffic.
There were only about 50 of us in the building. So going outside and seeing people in my neighborhood was nice to have. So now that the city is asking its employee, or slowly phasing employees back into the city county building, has your job changed again, or is it pretty regular?
No, it's still, the park rangers are kind of weird, I think, because we're kind of this like weird little thing that is here in the city, and we have awesome jobs, but I don't think we're like, I think our main boss comes in here, if anything, and our other ranger, Ernie, who does a lot of our environmental education to create things with the workers. So, if anything, I think mainly it's just stuck to email and getting things done that way, and just trying to create things more online. But other than that, I don't think, at least for me, and I think for a lot of the other rangers, it hasn't. If anything, John hasn't had to come down to the city as much, and all of it's done over email. So, no, I don't think it's changed very much.
Okay. So I noticed that you are the park ranger for Allegheny Commons, Mellon Square, and Market Square. Were those assigned to you, or are those you picked?
So me and the ranger got to choose either between Highland, or the other person got the lower North Side parks. And since I love the North Side, I was like, I'll take those.
Okay.
And he lived over in Bloomfield, so it worked out perfectly.
Okay. Which is, I know this is probably asking you like, what's your favorite breath of air, but what is your favorite park in the city?
I think it has to be Allegheny Commons.
Okay.
I love it.
And why?
Well, one, it's the oldest park in our city. 2, because I think because of the diversity of life down there and the ability to actually be able to help people in need. So a lot of my job is working with homeless people, or people on drugs, unfortunately, or people not in the best times of their lives, and being able to be that person to talk to them and be open to them, and give them someone to talk to that's been a really big part of my job over the past 4 years. And I think, that has the most impact on me and other people. And you're going to find that the most in Allegheny Commons and Market Square and Mellon Square. But I would say Allegheny Commons, for the most part, is going to be your location where you're going to meet people from all ways of life. And I really like people, so.
I can tell. If there were no budget constraints for the park rangers, you said, I want what are your top 500 wants?
Top 500. Oh no.
I mean, in a utopian society, if budget wasn't a problem, if there were no problems at all for you to get the things you needed, what are some things that would make the park ranger division of public safety better?
I think the first and main thing would be establishing park offices at each park so that your rangers had actual offices, just like at a state park you go to.
Yep.
They have a park office with, and that's where you can, even if the ranger isn't there, at least they can go in to use the bathroom.
Yep.
Because I don't have bathrooms. So you have to go around, you have to find places to go, and at least some of the other parks you do, but having that place and having educational tools for kids to take, for parents to take for their kids,
Yep.
it's just more of a personal interaction, which is what people are usually looking for when they come to the parks, especially if they have a question or something. So park offices would be my number one thing. And then from there, we're pretty well taken care of in regards to if we need things with grants and things like that.
That's great.
Yeah, we really are. I think the other thing, I don't really know if there's much more. They gave us bikes. I think the main thing is just like a park office and maybe just like creating our own type of map, brochure type thing to kind of teach people about each park. And like the passport books for the state parks or the national parks, I really want one of those for the city parks.
That'd be
think
fantastic.
that would be super fun. So I think the main thing is the office, and then after that I think we're pretty well taken care of. But the other main thing would be our numbers. So it'd be getting more park rangers, because it's really hard to enforce things with one person in a park. Whereas like when we have our like part-timers occasionally from summer to summer, like the SEAs, it's really nice having, like, if you enforce something one day, if someone comes back the next day to just do it again because they don't care, because they think you won't be there, and having another person to just reinforce, it kind of helps, because obviously signs, people have the choice to read a sign, and 100% of the time they're not gonna, even if they read it, they're not gonna follow it. So yeah, definitely our numbers in offices.
So you're saying you don't have 100 park rangers right now?
No. Only 7 full-time and 4 part-time.
What I've found in these interviews is how amazing it is, how much work people are able to do with so little amount of bodies.
For sure.
And it's across the board, whether it's the finance department or INP or public safety, how much work actually gets done with how little people are there to do it.
Totally.
I think it's great. Stevie, you are the first guest on this program to bring show and tell items. And I am so excited about your show and tell items. So would you like to show us and tell us what you brought?
Sure. So we do, I'm going to show you the book first. We do a Explorer's Guide. We use this for our 5th grade educational program. It's more so focused for our north side schools. Well, at least I think it used to be at least focused. We might have had some changes in it. Actually, I think they changed it this year. Yeah. So there's no maps in here. There used to be maps in here because we were focused on our north side schools, but I think they changed it because we started going more so around the city to our other rec centers and things like that. So this kind of does like some education on trees, what you should bring out with you in the parks when you like go out for a hike, leave no trace, decomposition game where you guess how long it takes for things to decomposition. And then we do a geocaching game, usually in Allegheny Commons, where they use our GPSs to find the geocaches, and then they give a hint of what the animal may be. So we like to use our skins and skulls of animals that are here in our city. So our first one is the one that likes to get in your trash, which is a raccoon.
Oh, is this, I'm supposed to tell you what it is?
Yeah, you
sorry.
tell me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And then this one stinks.
That's a skunk.
Yes.
My dog loves those.
Oh. And this is actually a striped skunk. And then we have our
That looks like a fox.
red fox. Yes.
Nice.
And did you know that there's some in Allegheny Commons?
I did not know
It's
that.
actually really cool. You barely ever see them. They're over, like, they call it the Meadows, but it's on the west side of the park. And then our very common,
I don't even know what that is.
he looks a little rough like this, gray squirrel.
Oh, squirrel.
He
Yeah.
looks, yeah. So yeah, we like to use these, and kids don't often get to have hands-on with animals. So being able to have the skins and skulls gives them an up-close look on what's in their brains, what's in their mouths, and they get to feel the fur, which some kids are like, absolutely not, I'm not touching that. And then other people are like, ooh, can I touch it? And I'm like, heck yeah, go ahead. So we've been starting to do some tabling Tuesday when they're not using them for the rec centers. I just did a tabling Tuesday with Gus and Yaya yesterday. So if you're ever there on Tuesdays, I'm there. And for now, we are doing skins and skulls, but there's always new things to find. I'm super into fungi right now.
You must be fun at dinner parties.
When I have time.
Oh, right. You don't have no time. So do you carry... These are the only skins that the city has?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. There we go with the money. Yeah. Okay. So we only have one set of these in skulls, and you're actually right. I think we have talked about trying to get more things. But did you know? I just learned this. I think it's what library is in Oakland? The big one.
Yeah, Carnegie Library.
Yes. You can actually rent things from them, and they have like a stuffed chipmunk. So the Rangers in Highland and Frick are making chipmunk magnets and chipmunk education, and they have an actual live chipmunk in the box that you can actually see, and it comes with different facts and things to learn about and teach the kiddos, which I think is super great. I think it was like $50 to rent it for a certain amount of time, but obviously the city pays for that. So I mean, obviously there's ways to go and rent things through other programs, but I guess there's always money needed to get new things.
Do you ever take the skunk skin and throw it at the kids?
No, I would never throw it because I don't want to make them uncomfortable.
Okay, that's fair.
Because they're already, a lot of inner city kids are already super uncomfortable with the outdoors and, bugs and stuff. So our main goal is to try to get them as comfortable as we can. So you have to be super careful when you bring out the furs.
Can I bring the skunk skin home so I can throw it at my kid?
As long as he puts it on his head. And then you have to take a picture.
I think we can.
And then you have to take it this way. So then he sprays you
That is amazing. I might have to go get one of my own because I think my son would hate me for about 12 minutes and then he'd realize how funny it is.
Exactly. How can't you laugh? Well, I guess he's at that
weird
10,
age
of 10. So
he
likes you, but he doesn't like you.
I'm only funny if my wife laughs. Because I'm his dad and I'm weird and old and he doesn't like my jokes. I just told him yesterday a bunch of dad jokes and he just rolled his eyes the whole time.
Oh, man.
But I think the skunk skin would be a winner because then he would take it and throw it at his friends and that would be awesome.
I mean, you got skunked. You got punked, skunked.
We have a new show for the City Channel. You got skunked.
Oh, my goodness, yes. That'd actually be really funny to do on city employees just for fun. Like morale, let's talk about morale in the city county building. Skunked.
I think especially now that they're coming back in, we should leave one on somebody's office chair. Or
just leave it. Yeah,
leave it on their chair.
Sneaking around.
Yeah, I think we got a new show and I'm totally on board. John Furman, if he's totally not going to watch this, so we'll just put it wherever he is. We'll put it on his seat in his truck, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'll do it. I'll post it to Instagram.
Awesome. I love it.
Or I'll take a video and then we can make a little YouTube video.
Awesome. I'm totally on board. All right, Stevie. So this is the part of the show where I'm going to ask you 4 completely random questions to you.
Okay.
Random to you questions.
Okay.
And just answer whatever is your first thing that comes to your head, okay?
Do I say just a brief word?
No, you don't have to. You can continue answering it.
Okay.
You can go a little deeper if you want. On your sandwiches here in Pittsburgh, do you like fries or no fries?
No fries.
What? You're from here.
Absolutely not. I'm picky.
What?
Fries should be on the side.
But you didn't grow up with fries on your sandwiches.
Nope.
Wow.
No, I was like, please remove those. Put those on the side.
That happened once when I was in Permanente. One of the first, so I'm not from here, but one of the first times I was ever in Permanente, I was sitting at the bar, I was eating, and someone came in, sat down and said, I'd have the blah, 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 and can you put the French fries on the side? And it was almost like a record scratched, and everybody's head in the place turned and looked at this person.
That was probably me.
I'm surprised by that. My wife actually also does.
I think now that I'm probably a little older, I would just eat it with the fries on it. But when I was younger, I definitely was like, nope, no thanks. But I don't really go to Permanentes often. Okay. Those are big sandwiches.
They are.
Oh.
Okay. Which is your favorite, the Mon or Duquesne incline?
Ooh.
And why?
Is the Duquesne one closer to the West End?
Yes.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't think I have a favorite. I like them both.
You don't want to choose. I get it.
No, I don't really know. That's a hard
When was
favorite.
the last time you took a ride on either incline?
Oh my goodness. A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed, I've only lived here 9 years, but I've noticed the longer I live here, the less I go on the inclines.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're going on it for a special event, I really think, or to propose. My brother proposed there, but I don't really think there's anything. I mean, maybe to take your kids, but
Right.
it's kind of, we more so walk down the hill as park rangers through the woods. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite view in the city?
Oh, I have too many.
Pick
You
the
can't
top-
ask me that.
You pick the top 250.
Okay. Grand View,
Okay.
Emerald View,
Yep.
Allegheny Commons, East Commons, right down above Sioux Murray Pool.
Okay.
It's an awesome view that no one really knows about. And I think obviously the West End Overlook is always going to be beautiful, but I think those are probably my. Oh, Riverview has a really cool view up top too.
Nice.
The free places to look at your city are in the parks, so
Right.
I just love them all.
I went about a month or 2 months ago. I went up in Friendship, and I found I don't even know what to call it, but it was kind of an overlook space.
Okay.
It was on an L corner of a street, and it was absolutely. But it was looking at the West End Overlook.
Oh, wow.
Across downtown, and it was a really really amazing.
I'm forgetting.
It's okay.
Is it up in the north side?
Yeah, above the north side.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know.
So I was looking down on the stadiums.
And there was there a little baseball field below
Yes.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
I know which one. Oh, I'm blanking on the name though right now.
Yeah, so am I.
I love that one too though. Yes, great view. And if you walk on the city steps over in that way, they have a super cool view too of like, they get like right up above the hospital and then you see the hospital and the
Yes.
stadium. Super cool.
Yeah, it's great. One of the most interesting things about an outsider living here is how many great spaces there are to overlook the different
Right.
parts of the city.
Right.
You're not just going to get the steel tower or the stadiums. You're going to get a different look at everything. And I thought that was really
Yeah. I
great.
thought about trying to go to all those views in one day to try to take like different pictures to try to show everyone or do like videos. I haven't done it yet. It's just one of my Instagram ideas that I have, but it really is cool. When I stumbled upon on the one of Riverview this past spring when the trees were still bare, I was like, holy cow, that's crazy. I mean, why would they name it Riverview if you couldn't really see it? But obviously you can see it up above
Right.
the river. So, I mean, up above on the top by the observatory.
Okay, the last random question. Do you have any strange facts in your head? What is the strangest fact that you have in your head? Everybody has strange knowledge, useless knowledge.
Strange facts.
I mean, especially somebody who lived in Alaska for 3 months or has been in the Air Force. You've got to have something that is strange.
I feel like I'm one of those people that when something comes up, then I have a strange fact about it.
Excellent.
But,
So, in other words, I shouldn't use you as a phone a friend if I'm on a trivia show and need
no,
someone
unless
to
it has
call.
maybe something to involve with animals or something.
Okay.
But probably not.
Okay.
I'm trying to think though. Did you know like slugs, whenever they breed, they make like a mucus sac and they use their nasty slime to string them down and they hang and they mate in the air and then they make this big mucus ball. It's really cool. You should check it out.
I'm running to YouTube right now.
You should. I'm going to tell you, it's going to make your face like look really weird when you're looking at it.
My face already looks weird. I don't need. I do not need it looking more weird than this. So those are the 4 questions. If our viewers have questions, comments, concerns that relate to park rangers, is there a way that people can contact you?
Yeah, so you can always message us over our PGH Park Rangers Instagram account, or we have PGH Park Rangers email through this city. So PGH Rangers at pittsburghpa.gov. And then obviously my email is always open, Lauren.Smith at pittsburghpa.gov. If anyone has any questions or concerns, or you can always use your 311. Your 311 will always be directed towards us. But it's always good to obviously put in things from all directions. So if you put in a 311 call and send us an email, it makes your park ranger for that individual park aware. And then that hopefully the issue can be addressed a little bit quicker.
How come your city email isn't Stevie?
I know, right? I don't know. Probably because John was too afraid to ask them to change my name in the beginning. Can it be changed? Anyone?
I don't know.
Oh.
I work for the technology department. It's not like I know anything.
But wouldn't you know then?
We can find out if you really want.
Yes.
Oh, I guess that's a emphatic.
Well, it's just so weird because whenever you give people your email, they're like confused why your name's Stevie, and then But sometimes I'm like, it's okay.
I was confused.
Because some people just think there's two people, so then it works out for me. Because then it's like, this is one person.
Are
that's
there
the other
two
person.
people?
The world may never know.
Is there a Lauren and is there a Stevie?
I don't know. I know it's super crazy. Yesterday on the Northside Chronicle, do you know the Northside Chronicle? They came over to Gus and Ye's to get some picture, and I met this girl, and she said her name was, I told her my name was Stevie, and she said her name was Lauren. I said, oh, that's funny. My name's Lauren. My real name's Lauren too, but I go by Stevie. And she was like, oh, yeah, we were talking about and I was telling her how I was gonna, if I had a daughter, I would name her Stevie. But I was like, my dad always was like, you can't name her Stevie, you have to name her Stephanie. And she was like, oh my goodness, my name's Stephanie. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, my name's Stephanie Lauren, but my parents always called me by my middle name. I'm like, this is wild.
So you're best friends?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, this is great, but it's super awesome because we actually write a monthly column. Me and Nancy, the ranger for Riverview, write a column for the Northside Chronicle every month, but we swap. And it was cool to actually meet the people in person who, who make the Chronicle. So it was nice.
I think we need to do a Lauren and Stevie show.
Yes.
I'm coming up with all these great ideas, and we'll never know who's Lauren and who's Stevie on the show.
Right. That's fine.
I think that's fantastic. All right. All these great ideas. All right. Well, Stevie, thank you very, very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You've been a great guest, and you've been a good sport.
Thanks for having me.
Questions,
so much fun.
Stupid questions I'm asking you. For those of you at home, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Meet the People.